Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a book review video. Shocking, right? And I only have 6 books like usual. So I'm going to get into the these books, like half of them were good, half of them were just okay. There really wasn't that. They weren't that bad this time around. This one is a long book. I read this because St. Patrick's Day was on Sunday, and I read it because it was about Ireland, and it's called Ireland, and it's by Frank Delaney. This is what it looks like. And the one thing I do have to say though is I haven't read a lot of stuff about Ireland before. I only know like a few things about Ireland. But basically, it's about this storyteller who comes to this town in Ireland in the 1950s. And he's telling them about the folklore of the country. And I don't know if these I know the one was about St. Patrick, and I know that one was true. But for the rest of them, I don't know if they were true or not. I mean, obviously they must be true if that one was true. But it's about this guy. So the one thing that's weird about it is the chapters are kind of like long in the beginning, and then they get shorter towards the end of the book. This book had like 555 pages, and there was no chapter marks. Like there wasn't like chapter 1, chapter 2. It was basically like it kept going back and forth. So it'd be like the 1950s, and then it would go to the story that they were telling, and then it would go back, and then sometimes it would stay in the 1950s for like 3 sets of chapters, and then it would go back to the stories. And it's about this, like I said, this storyteller who comes to this town, and then this boy wants to gets in history and a lot of other things, and he decides to go on this hunt for this storyteller, and he's also telling his stories that he's learned. And this one thing happens in the book that is really shocking to me, but it really isn't. Like when you hear about it, it is, but then you realize like why it's not that shocking, like kind of. So this next book this one was good. This is Kendra Ballantine Pet Sitter Mystery. I have a couple of these. I haven't read one in a while. And it's called The Fright of the Iguana. It's by Linda O. Johnston. This is what it looks like. It's basically this woman who's a pet sitter, and she's a lawyer. And as she pet sits all these different kind of animals, and here this rich person's pets go missing, this iguana and the Shar-Pei, which is a dog. And she has to figure out why they were taken and who did it. And then she also finds out that other pets in the area in her little pet sitter group, their pets have gone missing and stuff like that. And it's a really good book. I mean, the storyline was simple. It wasn't like, oh, blah, 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 but it was funny. And I really like when they come up with the names of the animals. Like the names of the animals are so funny, and it's kind of like out of the box. You're like, oh, I would never think of that. Like the iguana's name is Saurus, like dinosaur, but it's Saurus because, like, you know, iguanas are kind of like dinosaurs. And it's so funny to see. Like, I just, like, the one thing I like about these, like, they always cheer you up when you hear the names of the animals, and then you realize, like, some of the times they go through and say why they named the animal, what they did, and then sometimes they don't, and you're just like, oh, how did they come up with that name? And that seems like one of the most unique names you could ever have for like a dog or something. So this book is a biography, and like I said in my other videos, I have a lot of biographies, and I'm trying to put one biography in every book review video that I do. Sometimes I don't do one, sometimes I do, and this one is about Charles and Camilla. Charles is the Prince of Wales. He's the heir to the English throne, and Camilla is his second wife. And it's by Gyles Brandreth. I don't know how you say this person's name. And I thought it was gonna be like other books where it's like, okay, like the first chapter is gonna talk about him, and then the second chapter's gonna talk about her, like goes back and forth like that. But it doesn't. And the one thing that I hated about the book was like they always compared their relationship to prior things like Edward the Eighth, and there was another one that was like way back, way back in the day. I think it was like something to do with like James the First or something like that, or Henry the Third, something like that. And it just kept repeating to me like the same stuff over and over again. And I felt like it was more about him than it was about her life, kind of. And it just didn't like interest me, you know what I mean? Like it was like, oh, like it wasn't a biography. I was like, oh yeah, like I'll read it. It was a biography that's like, I have to read it. And but the one thing is, I was like, there's 5 sets of pictures scattered in the book, so that was good. But I just feel like it wasn't that great of a biography. Like it didn't flow right to me. That's the only thing I could say. And it does have a sticker on it. I got this at a thrift store, and I'm afraid that if I got the sticker off of it, it would probably ruin the book. So I'm just gonna hide it. So this is what it looks like. And it was just, I mean, and the other thing about reading biographies, you know, like there's a lot of endnotes at the end of the book. So the last like 200 pages, there weren't that many pages left to read. So I'm sorry to say, this book got mangled by my dog when we first got her. And this is Midnight Suns Volume 2. I did do a book review on Midnight Suns Volume 1. I think it's in like the second before like this, like the third one. Like if when I post this, it's probably gonna be like the third one down or something like that, where it has the review of the first one. And the reason why I didn't read this in the next, like I skipped one book review video with this one, is because the first one wasn't that great to me, and the second one was kind of better. It's by Debbie Macomber, and this is what it looks like. I know it's pretty mangled. I know. It's about these brothers who live in this small town in Alaska, and they decide, you know, we want to find wives that, you know, nobody knows anything about us. So you're in a small town, everybody knows each other's business. And so the first 2 got their women in the first book, and then these 2 got them in the second one. And the first one was about this man who is called Daddy's Little Girl. There's always 2. This one had 2 in 1. And his wife died in an accident. I can't remember what. Oh no, it wasn't an accident. It was like she got like postpartum, and then she, I think, like just got too depressed and she took too many pills, like that kind of thing. And she wants him to fall in love with her teacher, because her teacher's one of these new women who come to the town to get like a house and find love and stuff like that. And then the second one is about another one of the brothers who has an ex-wife, and then one night they get together, and you can just imagine what happens. But the one thing though is like the second one and this one has like kind of like an it feels like, I feel like when she writes 2 in 1 books, one of the stories always has like an open-ended like ending, and I don't like that about books. Like I want it to be like, if it's a short story, I want it to have a clear ending, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, this one was better than the first volume, and I know sometimes like that doesn't really happen, but yeah, that one was way better. This one is another mystery series book, and it's called A Booktown Mystery. It's about this small town in New England, in New Hampshire, like the New England, New Hampshire thing, where they have this small town where, like, all downtown, everything's book related. And this is called Bookplate Special. It's by Lorna Barrett. And this takes place like close to Halloween, kind of, but not actually Halloween. And this is what it looks like. And it's about this woman who this is like the third book in the series. I think I read the first one, and this is the third one. I don't think I have the second one. And it's about this woman who runs this like mystery bookshop, and this woman who's living with her. I don't remember if it was, I think it was just like her friend or like her relative, I can't remember. She ends up leaving. She says, the woman, Trisha, says to this woman, she says, you can't live here anymore. You keep mooching off me. You keep doing stuff to my customers. It's not right. So she leaves, and something happens to her, and Trisha has to find out why this happened to her friend, or to this woman, I should say, because I don't know if that was her friend or her cousin or something like that. Anyway, and then this other thing happens where people are going around smashing pumpkins, and she finds out who does that, and she finds out who did something to the other woman, Pammy, in the book. And I just liked it. Like, it's like like when you read a book that has like a small town in it, like you can feel the vibes from it, kind of. And I feel like that's what this book did. Like, I just loved it. You know what I mean? Like, I just loved the fact that it was a good book, and it was like a book that you could just like read and be like, okay, like this is a book like I feel like anybody could read. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if you like sci-fi or if you like, I don't know, romance. Like, I feel like it's a book that like everybody could read, and I feel like it's a book that like it won't take up too much of your time reading it, because you know, like a lot of people have that problem nowadays. And I read this book, and I liked it, but I did not like the ending to it. And this is about that movie that just came out, I think like a week or two ago, called 5 Feet Apart. It's by Rachael, Lippincott, with Mikki, Daughtry, and Tobias. I don't know how you say that person's last name. I butcher last names. I feel like everybody does, but I feel like I butcher them the most. It's about these two. It's about this girl and this boy who have cystic fibrosis. It's a lung disease, and they can't be right next to each other. They have to be like 6 feet apart at all times, because they can give each other what's growing inside of their lungs, the bacteria that's in their lungs and stuff. And she decides that, you know, she loves him and he loves her, and she decides that she wants to do 5 feet apart. She said, I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to do it. And so they start their relationship in the hospital. And I just liked it. And I feel like it's a book that like, it kind of shocks you a little bit. And it kind of reminds me of like, not like exactly like it, but it kind of reminds me of like a different version of like Nicholas Sparks' book, but like for young adults. Or it reminds me of, you know, like the guy who wrote Looking for Alaska, like Paul Green or something like that. I think that's his name, Paul Green or Seth Green, something like that. I know his last name's Green. It kind of reminds me of that kind of romance kind of style. And I liked it, but the ending, it was just like, I feel like they could have wrote another book for it, because the ending was like, it wasn't like it was open-ended, but I feel like it was like, the ending could have been better, because it was like a lot of questions in it at the end. I'm not going to go into detail about it. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if the movie is like the book or vice versa. But that was my book review video for this week. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and see you guys next time with another video.